This is KGW News at noon.
The Sergeant at Arms has reported that unexcused members cannot be located. Therefore, there is no quorum for the Senate to conduct business.
Work in the Oregon Senate once again at a standstill. Today, Republicans did not show up for work. This follows a series of walkouts last week. Hello, I'm Christine Pitawanich. Thank you for joining us here for KGW News at noon. We are entering a second week of the Senate failing to meet a quorum. The walkout started after Republicans claimed bills on abortion, gender rights, and gun safety don't pass what's called the readability test. That means the average citizen needs to be able to understand them. But here's the thing about not showing up to work with an unexcused absence. If a lawmaker has 10 or more, they cannot run for re-election. That's because of a new law that voters passed back in November. Some legislators say they're ready to push the limits and test whether that's constitutional.
My oath of office supersedes anything else.
Do you plan to go 10 days and test it yourself?
I plan to go until we get bills that are readable and comply with the law.
The Senate will try to reconvene tomorrow. We'll keep you updated with the latest on air and online at kgw.com. Now to our other big story. Shemia Fagan officially steps down as Oregon's Secretary of State in 1 hour. She announced her resignation last Tuesday after Willamette Week reported she had a side job as a consultant for a cannabis company. Now lawmakers are considering changes to ethics rules as well as increasing salaries. A week ago today, Fagan apologized to Oregonians, saying her $77,000 annual salary wasn't enough to support her family. Her cannabis consulting job paid $10,000 a month with a chance for a $30,000 bonus. Both Willamette Week and the Oregonian reported Fagan let the owners of the cannabis firm know about the audit and voice their concerns. The Oregon DOJ is expected to take a second look at that audit. Right now, state ethics rules do allow for outside employment, but lawmakers are looking at changes.
Yes, I do think we need to revisit those ethics laws, because I don't believe any statewide elected officials should be receiving outside money. I think it's too dangerous. But the one thing that I think Shemia Fagan was right about is that salaries are too low.
I mean, I think that the ethics rules, we should be looking at the ethics rules as well. I think the pay issue is something that we should address first, and that's what I believe that we are going to try to address this session.
The Deputy Secretary of State, Cheryl Myers, will take over the office at 1 p.m. She will remain in that role until the governor appoints a permanent replacement. Okay, let's check in with Rod in the Weather Center. And Rod, what are we looking at weather-wise today?
So far, if you're in Portland or north, it's been a pretty nice day. We are watching showers to the south of the Rose City and in particular around the Salem area. Here's the low that was offshore. Now it's pushed inland. It's going to continue to ride the California-Oregon border, it looks like, this afternoon. Look at all the action it's throwing up from south to north across our state. Again, Portland so far has been dry, partly cloudy skies. There are some showers south of Salem. We have showers starting to line up over the Cascades. And I want to take you out into central and eastern Oregon because look at the thunderstorms east of Madras, along Highway 26, south of John Day, out around Baker City. Lots of stormy activity, and this will continue for you folks this afternoon into this evening. You can see some cumulus clouds trying to build from the view of downtown Portland, looking off to the northeast from the top of the Wells Fargo building. But with dry weather and sun, we are now at 60 degrees. Here's your planner. 62 at 4 p.m. Believing scattered showers will increase around the Portland area this afternoon. Doesn't mean you're going to get wet. There could just be some rain here and some rain there, but not everywhere, if you will. And then 57 with the scattered shower threat still alive later at 8 p.m. The big story on the 7-day, rising temperatures into the 90s, and we'll talk more about that coming up. Christine?
Okay, thank you, Rod. We're just 8 days away from Oregon's special election. In Multnomah County, many people are paying close attention to a ballot measure that would lead to a new capital gains tax. The money collected would cover lawyers for tenants facing eviction. Supporters say it would help fight homelessness, but critics say it would hurt homeowners. Pat Doris takes a closer look.
In general, it seems like a fair move that both sides of an eviction would have a lawyer if they need one. The folks in Multnomah County who put this together modeled their right to counsel measure on laws from other cities that they consider successful.
When you provide free legal representation for tenants being taken to eviction court or at risk of displacement, in a surprising number of cases, you can keep that tenant housed until they can be stabilized.
You'll see the tax on the May ballot as Measure 26238. Instead of taxing everyone, this measure would only tax people who have capital gains. That's a term for the profit that you make when you sell something like property or a home or stocks or mutual funds, even digital currency. The tax would start at 0.75%, but it would be adjustable and it could go up or it could go down. On the other side, folks like the Portland Business Alliance say that tax would have a dramatic, even if unintended, impact on someone at any income level trying to sell their home.
It's our responsibility to stand up to proposals like this that may be well intended to help get tenants representation, but that impact the very thing that we know is driving our region to a place of unaffordability.
So what are the chances of this passing? I dialed up pollster John Horvick for some insights. His group asked about the measure late last year and found 40% were in favor, but 47% were opposed. Traditionally, Portland voters love new taxes. The last time voters said no to a new tax was for a Portland school bond in 2011. The very next year, voters approved the measure. But Horvick with DHM Research says the Multnomah County capital gains tax, that's running into tax frustration. Many in the county feel they're already paying too much tax for too little service. The tax may also be impacted by what is typically low turnout for May elections. Multnomah County told us every registered voter should have their ballot by now. It could be sitting in your mailbox if you haven't checked yet.
That was Pat Doris reporting. Oregon's Department of Human Services said it accidentally sent out EBT food cards to students who were not eligible. The department was supposed to send EBT cards to families who have kids on free or reduced lunch, or if they have kids under 6 and get SNAP benefits. The idea, to make up for meals those kids did not get at school when schools were shut down due to COVID. We're talking about roughly 3,700 cards altogether going to people who were not eligible. It was worth close to $1.5 million. DHS, though, says it recovered most of the money by zeroing out card balances. But if you did get a card by mistake and already spent the money, you don't have to worry about returning it. Well, a legal battle is just beginning over the reopening of Cook Creek Road in the Tillamook State Forest. The Center for Biodiversity and Cascadia Wildlands filed a lawsuit today against FEMA for its role in reopening the logging road. They say planned logging in the area and road activity will harm coho salmon as well as marbled murrelets. Both are protected under the Endangered Species Act. The road has been closed since a large portion washed out during storms back in 2015. A reconstruction proposal indicates FEMA has put restrictions and requirements on land use along that roadway. All MAX lines are back to full service today. Crews finished several track improvements along the I-84 corridor yesterday. Since the middle of last month, passengers have been taking shuttle buses between the Gateway Transit Center and Northeast 7th Avenue. TriMet says the blue, green, and red lines are all back to running on regular schedules.